Billy Gibbons of ZZ Top fame. Welcome to the show. Thank you so very much for gracing us with your presence today.
Well, you got it, man. We're ready to charge large with you. It's let's do it to it.
We're ready to make some radio magic today. Have you ever been asked to do voice work for for movies and stuff?
Yes, I did I used to do this children's program called the Power Rangers. And I was the bad guy. I was Vile Vine. Why did you come to my planet?
Are you kidding me? How did I miss that one? That's amazing.
Yeah, it was.
Oh my God,
it was crazy.
You have a solo album out, Perfectamundo, and this is the first solo record you've released, even though ZZ Top's been in the game for like 40 years. And I'm really curious to talk about that. But first and foremost, I wanted to know, I have this go-to question that whenever I get to talk to a great musician, I kind of ask him. Because when I was a kid, I heard Jerry Cantrell from Alice in Chains interviewed once, and the DJ in England asked him, hey, if you had to pick one record or one song or one television appearance or one concert or something like that made you go, okay, this is it, I have to do music, what would it be? And quick as a flash, old Jerry was like, oh, Elton John, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, which is not something you'd expect from the guitar player of Alice in Chains. So that's kind of become my go-to. So for you, what would you say that would be?
Wow. When I was 5, my younger sister and I attended with my mom. We went down and saw, live and in person, Elvis Presley.
Wow.
They just did it. I saw that, and I said, that's for me. Yeah. No question about it.
At age 5 years old, it all just became, all right, this is what I'm doing.
Well, yeah, I'd been banging on a metal garbage can since I was 3, so it all kind of made sense. Elvis had his band behind him, and they all had parts, and they all knew what to do, and it fell into place. As I looked upon that, that was a visual that stimulated all the dots connected. That was good.
And there's something very powerful about. Do you think it was seeing music played together by a group? I mean, you're 5, you're just connected. There's all sorts of dots you've only started to connect at 5 years old. But when you see the power of people playing music together, that's really something to kind of sort of behold. Do you think that had a lot to do with it, seeing a band in action?
Exactly, and that is the key word. It was together. It was different people spread out far and wide, but at the same time, the experience was hearing it as one thing. They were together.
And didn't you, I seem to remember, because I'm kind of a Billy Gibbons fanatic, I got to be honest with you. So I've watched a lot of your interviews online and wherever I can find them. And there's a fantastic one that you did from Kid Rock's barn where you told the story of being taken out to different clubs and different places to see music. But was it your housekeeper?
Yeah, Stella, big Stella. Stella Matthews, she was, the mom, big Stella, then there was little Stella, then Dorothy, then Minnie, and then...
Oh, okay, hold on.
Yeah.
For those that haven't heard the story, big Stella, little Stella, Dorothy, Minnie, explain who these people are. Because, to you, these are just people in your life, but to people listening to this is rock and roll history. This is the foundation being laid for a legend. So... please go a little deeper into this.
Yeah, it starts off with the question, well, how did this inspiration to, attempt to become an interpreter of this great art form, the blues, come about, and how that came about? And we had a housekeeper that resided over in Fourth Ward, and my dad, the orchestra leader dad, would find... 3 or 4 nights a week, my younger sister Pam and I would spend the night with the housekeeper and her clan, and by the end of the day, Big Stella would be she'd be ready to retire at 8 o'clock at night. So when slumber came tiptoeing in, little Stella picked up the paces, grabbed me, and put my little sister in her arms, and down the street we went. There was a little, it was not little, it was a destination, a night spot. It was a black nightclub destination right there in Houston, and everybody came through town. You name it. Howlin' Wolf, Jimmy Reed, B.B. King, Muddy Waters, the whole line of blues. It's the who's who of blues lists. And
you were how old being taken by your babysitter to see you were taken by your babysitter at how old to see Howlin' Wolf and B.B. King?
I was 5. My sister was 3. Then it was 6, and then it was 7. We just didn't want to let it go.
Oh, my gosh, that's incredible. I mean, sorry for making you retell a story that I'm sure you've told a bunch of times, but it's absolutely incredible. And your dad was like a concert pianist and an orchestra conductor. So if I'm getting this right, he would have to go to work, conduct the orchestra, which is something you do at night, and you got left with your housekeeper who would then take you to a club in 4th Ward in Houston. And by the way, I'm the afternoon guy on a station in Houston called The Buzz, so I know exactly the neighborhood you're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
And so she would take you there, at age 5 when your dad was conducting an orchestra. So your classical musician father would leave the house, and you would go get exposed to the blues. There was really nothing else you could do besides music. It was almost predestined.
Well, it was that pretty much carved in stone, I guess you'd say, at this point, looking back. Yeah, that corner was at the curve of Taft and West Gray. And
I know exactly where you're talking about.
You'd have to dig deep into the photographic history of that particular neighborhood. But I mean, it looks a little different now, but some of those energies move on. In fact, there's another track off this new disc. Perfectamundo is not just the title of one song. It is one song, but there's another one, Picking Up Chicks on Dowling Street. And it's a little bit deeper into town, but Dowling Street is still a very robust avenue. It was the for the black part of Houston's giant community. Even back then, it's coming back to life now. I've even heard they're revitalizing the El Dorado Ballroom on Dowling Street.
Yeah, there's so much going on in Houston. It's just, it's growing and it's growing. And it's like, which brings me to an interesting point. I don't know where you spend most of your time, but when I first moved from New York City to Houston, I remember I went to, I think it was an art show or something like that, or a gallery opening. And there you were, hanging out, taking pictures and really sort of like taking it very sort of, you're a very active part, it seemed at the time, of Houston's cultural scene. Is that something, do you still live there? Do you still stay there? Because it seems like you pop up there more often than not.
Oh, yeah. You can't get out of Houston. I mean, once you're there, you're there. You cannot get... Well, the heat won't let you get out of there. Yeah. My girlfriend went down there, and I said, so it was your first trip out of Los Angeles. How'd you like Houston? She goes, I dig it, man. It's like trying to learn how to walk through mayonnaise.
It's totally true. Well, here's the thing, though. I notice when, I'm in California that, people don't understand the value of air conditioning outside of Texas. Houston, everybody's got it set to a chilly 65 at all times, and the only time you're uncomfortable really is when you leave the house till you walk to your car until your car cools down, and then you're all good. But then, you get to California, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's set to 72. It's beautiful. You get a cool breeze." I'm like, "I'm sweating. And they're like, "You're from Houston. You shouldn't be complaining." I was like, "Really? 'Cause try me, bitch. I'm complaining. I'm used to being 65 because I'm from the H."
Oh yeah.
So you can't get out of Houston, no matter where you roam, no matter what you do, no matter how many times you go to places like Havana and play a jazz festival and get invited to make albums like the one you've just made. You're always going to be a Houston boy, you think?
I think so. I mean, we could spend the next we could spend the next decade just running the list of great restaurants. Someone said, Houston, Texas. Yeah, I said, well, it's a great music town, but it's also a great restaurant town. And I think... due to the heat and the bumper to bumper scene on any given avenue on any given time, a lot of people take refuge and they say, pull over, let's go in there. They got some good food in there.
Yeah, no, it's really true. Houston, I think, got named the best restaurant town in all of America. People think Chicago, people think New York City, but you know what? I think the thing is there's so many restaurants in Houston that if you don't come with the goods, you're not going to last more than a week, so you have to be excellent. Any restaurant in Houston that's been open more than a week and a half is going to be amazing.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to talk to you about, look, you've been up in the game for 40 years with ZZ Top, and this is your first ever solo album. And I think I know a little bit about how this came about with you being invited to play at, was it the Havana Jazz Fest?
It is. That's a standing invite. In fact, that's where this Billy Gibbons and the BFGs aggregation will open up. We go to Havana in the middle of December. We got three shows booked before we bring it back to these shores. But it's going to be an interesting outing. We cut a video for the lead single, which, speaking of Houston, Roy Head's great cornerstone of blues and R&B, whose song "Treat Her Right" from 1965 found its way to being given our Cubanized version. And cutting the video, I said, well, how do we wrap this up? And it gave us an opportunity to bring out something that everybody knows, all the famous American cars that are still left running in Cuba. And we've got this 1950 Ford, shiny red, chopped, repowered, repainted. It is the expression of Cuba, right there at the end of the Treat Her Right video. So it made sense.
You know what? We'll continue the conversation with Billy Gibbons of ZZ Top fame in just a little bit, but we're talking so much about this incredible new record that you've made. I think it's only right that people hear some of it. So let's take a listen. Billy Gibbons' new album, Perfectamundo. We'll talk to you more about this in just a little bit, but let's hear some music, shall we? Cover of Roy Head's hit, Treat Her Right. It's awesome. You're in for a treat. Also, do yourself a favor, check out the video on the interwebs. Billy Gibbons, Treat Her Right. Hey, I'm AD, and if you've just started listening, we are joined in the studio today by the legendary Billy Gibbons of ZZ Top. So, Perfectamundo, for people that don't know, Billy Gibbons and the BFGs, your solo album, Perfectamundo, is out on Friday. And when I heard about it, I was like, don't take this the wrong way, but isn't every solo album sort of, I get the impression that you are the driving force behind it, and a lot of what ZZ Top is about is your vision. I was like, why would he need to do something different from ZZ Top? And then I listened to what it is. I was like, oh, this is not a ZZ Top record. This is Cuban jazz. And weren't you kind of like surprised when you were invited over to play a jazz festival?
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah.
I said, how did my name wind up on a jazz roster of all things? And I guess we're still curious, but I know what we do. There's no getting around it. The blues influences will constantly be part of that thread. And at the same time, we didn't want to crash the party. We didn't want to miss the party. And we decided, well, let's just peel the onion and see if we can start making headway in that Cuban fashion, which I think, once you listen to it, it ain't ZZ Top. It's something really weird. I like it.
It's super cool. It's almost like when I first heard some of the clips off of the album, it almost sounds like Tom Waits to me. Like it's you, but I don't know. It seems as though like messing with a different art form almost. It sort of freed you up to do some different things. Would you say that's true?
Yeah, the Tito Puente / Tom Waits cloud was constantly over the studio. My voice got scratchier and the timbales got louder.
That's good. Well, this brings me to an interesting point. Like, you've done so much. You've done so much. You've played with, for people that aren't aware, you've played with everyone from Ministry to Queens of the Stone Age to Kid Rock and now Latin Jazz and Brooks and Dunn. You've got a recurring role on the TV show Bones. You have your own barbecue and hot sauce. And it seems like you have this attitude of just saying yes to everything that life throws at you. And I wanted to talk a little bit about that because, look, you've been doing this a long time, and it seems like just obviously a person goes through life and makes their own opportunities, but you seem to have an attitude where opportunities come to you. Why is that? I mean, is it just saying yes to stuff that seems a little off the wall?
Yeah.
Like a jazz festival, okay.
Yeah. It is embracing that passion. It's all around us. You just got to, it's bubbling under, so why not let it boil? And, when somebody lights the fuse, then you got to go out and light the fire. And I think I speak for my partner, Frank Beard, the man with no beard, sitting at
the man with no beard, and ZZ Top, the one guy without a beard. Yeah,
and Dusty Hill, our fearless bass player. We've constantly tried to figure out what is that similar element that it's getting to enjoy what we get to go do, and well, that's one part of it. I think the other challenge is accepting that propellancy. We don't know who's going to make the first mistake, so we're constantly on our toes.
Right. But I mean, where would you say that attitude comes from? Because, like, you know, I look at your body of work, and I know this is a little deep and a little esoteric, but I look at your body of work and look at everything that you've accomplished and look at everything that you're still accomplishing. I was like, so many people, so many artists, like, bend themselves all out of shape, you know, like, and kind of go against the grain of life, where you seem to have found a way to absolutely swim with the current and let life take you into some really cool places, yet direct yourself at the same time. Where do you think that attitude comes from? Was it your parents? Was it your upbringing? Was it Stella? You know, like, how does a guy get like that? I'm asking because I want to be like that. Like, it's just amazing.
Yeah, and there's one simple phrase that seems to resonate, and I think everybody can learn to play what you want to hear. And if you're going to strum on a guitar, bang on the drums, hit the keyboard, it's just that. It's, first of all, it's all in the hands, and if you can get that muscle memory to fall in line, learn to play what you want to hear, and then you got it. At least you're on your way.
Well, I think it's a great metaphor for life as well. If there's something you want to do, I guess what you're telling us to do is create it. I was expecting to talk about music. I was expecting to talk about the new album Perfectamundo. Really is an entertaining listen. If you're into ZZ Top, if you're into Billy Gibbons, then this is something that you definitely won't want to miss. And even if you're not, it's definitely something that you won't want to miss. But I feel as though we got some life lessons from not only a legend, but a legend from the great city of Houston. Thank you very much. I can't tell you how much it meant to talk to you here today, and I could talk your ear off for an hour and a half, and still have tons more questions that I'm dying to ask you. So maybe you'll come back sometime, but if not, this has been an absolute honor.
Well, my pleasure, and having the opportunity to conduct this exchange, I think we can expand our horizons from arroz and frijoles with this Cuban twist. Now we can have black beans and plantains. Let's go for it.
Oh. Yeah. Have you ever, just out of curiosity, have you ever eaten at Chacho's on Westheimer?
Love it. Love Chacho's. Yeah, man. Come on.
I find that in Houston, there's different places that do different things really well, but absolutely nobody beats their case. Have you had the spinach and mushroom quesadilla? They're the only place in town that does that. I think.
And they do it right. They absolutely do it right. Yeah. You and I'll have to get together. We'll put the burn on. I'll bring over the guacamole recipe, and we'll leave the rest of it to guesswork.
If we could eat Mexican food one day together, I could leave this mortal coil a happy and satisfied man, having had so much more happen to me than I ever thought would. Billy Gibbons, you're a scholar, you're a gentleman, you're a genius, and maybe one day we get to split a quesadilla. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, brother. We'll see you soon, senor. Bueno.
Take it easy.